for as long as I can remember, my happy place has had a few common traits. Usually a place where I can turn off my brain and let the surroundings do the thinking. Toes in sand, crystal clear waters glistening. Simple and honest. My happy place, as it turns out, looks a lot like Koh Tao. Hype is a dangerous thing. How often has someone unrepentantly gushed over something or someplace and has, from that moment forward, ruined it forever? We as people are jaded, contrarians to avoid an inevitable letdown after a massive buildup. So welcome to Thailand's most hyped island, Koh Tao. The smallest of the 3 major islands in the Gulf of Thailand, Koh Tao has its own identity. Where the larger islands of Koh Samui and Koh Phangan Yuan are known for resorts and rave parties respectively, Koh Tao is an island where time stands still. An expat retreat centered around diving and R&R.
If you live in a city like New York, LA, something with a lot of noise pollution, regular pollution, I feel like if you're from one of those cities, you should come here to regain about 5 or 6 years of your life.
The only way to get here is by springboarding a ferry from a nearby island or port, usually the furthest stop from either. And fittingly, the vibe here feels distant and far removed from the sensory overload that is sometimes commonly associated with Thailand. Almost all of the action on this island can be found on its western side, specifically Sairee Beach. That's where I'm staying, so I can be close to all the shameless shenanigans a young Farang can stumble upon while still being able to crawl back to his room with relative dignity left. But before the bad decision-making begins, one must eat.
You see, before engaging in any sort of unchristian activity, one must nourish themselves in order to properly engage in unchristian activities.
Of course, my go-to is the spicy Munam Tok.
A little bit of the salad, a little bit of soup. Kind of love all the condiments you find here. You got your nom blanc, good for such purposes as, I don't know, having it be tasty. You got your chili. You got a little vinegar with chilies in it. Oh yeah. See, the point of eating something that's so spicy is to create a singeing, lava-like layer. Basically, you want to be protected everywhere in your body. Thai food, otherwise known as Trojans for your mouth. All right, time to go put it to work.
Koh Tao might not be as wild as Koh Phangan Yuan or Koh Phi Phi, but it's still Thailand. And that means cheap beer, rambunctious shit-faced Brits, and sleepless nights. The epicenter of this mind-numbing party is the Fishbowl Beach Bar, tailor-made for the frat boy in all of us. Friendships are forged and sometimes lost over the flick of a wrist and bottomless singles. A noble sport where the only prize for winning is delaying the inevitable prayer to the porcelain bowl. Surrounded by madness, music, and fire, late on a faraway island beach. Right now, there's no place that I'd rather be. Admittedly, when you come to a place like this for work, if you can call this that, it's very hard to give a shit enough to simply turn on your camera and film anything at all, let alone plan an itinerary. Every day for me here seems to revolve around the practice of doing as little as possible, as pleasurably as I can. But that's not helpful to you. Oh no, the injustice I do to the faithful viewer that tunes in to vicariously live through my travels and takes pointers for when they too can come and visit this gloriously slothful place. So fine, you win. About a 10-minute scooter ride from Sairee Beach is, well, one of the great beaches of my life. Freedom Beach. And though it may not be a local secret, or far off the beaten path for that matter, it's the kind of beach that can turn a tourist into an expat by sunset.
I mean, it kind of is a bummer about the weather, but that sort of goes to show you that even in kind of crappy weather, this place is on another level. It's nice. Real nice.
As much as I'd love to pick up a feathered pen and start a short-lived writing career here, I know there's a bar just around the corner, and I'm fiending for something cold and alcohol-y. Funny enough, there's a long and incredibly shanty-looking passageway, which probably isn't up to any safety standards at all, that leads you through some giant Seychelles boulders and straight to the Freedom Bar. This Bush-era-sounding watering hole is both the bar you need and the one you absolutely deserve. At least I do. As I often do in tropical settings, I thirst for something slightly fruity, and I frankly don't care what you think about that. Go ahead and judge. I'm shameless and I want rum, so I opt for a drink from back home and sip my way into an epiphany.
Not gonna lie, it's a very difficult task to make an objective, smart video here on Koh Tao because, well, I just don't feel like doing anything. My heart rate's probably like about 45 right now, and I'm totally cool with that.
Oh, and did I mention there's all sorts of bungalows perched up on the rocks? So you can go full Hemingway and spend the rest of your day sloshed, presumably consuming copious amounts of coconut while blasting Jimmy Buffett classics at odd hours of the night.
Must make objective video. Must inform viewers. Must have more mojitos. The struggle. The struggle is real.
Please excuse me, but I have lost all signal. If you haven't noticed by now, the weather has been less than favorable. Rainy, with occasional glimmers of sun. Unusual since it's April and that's part of the dry season here in Thailand. So all this is doing is adding another layer of lethargy to my already sluggish mood. A relatively quick long tailboat ride through the choppy tides of Koh Tao is a geographical oddity. A place where not even Netflix and chill type of weather could have me miss. 3 islands, each connected by a narrow strip of sand that seemingly recedes and pops its head over the water as it pleases. Koh Nang Yuan. And like in most Thai islands, there's a viewpoint to be reached and some pictures to be taken, which of course should be posted for the sole purpose of rubbing it in everyone's face back home.
There aren't any pandas on this island, but, you know, I gotta watch out because they're rare. They're so rare, the pandas are so rare that there are actually no pandas at all. Alright, time to go to the viewpoint.
Oh lovely, a hike sponsored by Offspray.
Mosquitoes are having their way with me like I just got to prison. True story, I would never survive in a prison. I would last about 5 minutes. I would just find the biggest dude there and be like, you, I'm your bitch, take care of me. Almost to the top.
And then, the payoff.
Whew. All right, well, that was one of the lowest risk, highest reward viewpoints I've ever seen. I love it when things come easy.
At this very moment, caught in between the warm breeze of 3 tiny islands, walking on a sliver of vanishing sand through different hues of blue seascape, I'm overcome with silence. Because to say anything at this moment would be to ruin it. A moment you cherish and simply absorb. Lock in the vault of your heart forever. It is a must that any traveler headed to Southeast Asia understand this. There is no more noble place of gathering than the all-holy, all-encompassing temple of the convenience gods, 7-Eleven. It is, basically, an institution of higher powers.
So one of the first things I did when I got to town was ask the cab driver where I could get the best street food. You know what? He said 7-Eleven. Who am I to argue with a local cab driver? Seriously, one of the beauties of Thai street food is that you can get yourself these random meats on a stick. Not really quite sure what they are. They say it's pork. Not really sure. It's the best damn food that 10 baht can buy. That might be newspaper.
It seems there is very little one can do wrong here. I guess, in a way, that's the reason why everyone tells you to come to Koh Tao. Why the hype spreads through every traveler in Thailand, every soul that finds themselves desperately seeking refuge to a life less ordinary. So if you were to run into me at an airport or at a local coffee shop, I too would tell you the stories of an island that romances you quickly and never lets go. An island where you can turn off your brain and float through time. Uninhibited, absorbent. I would tell you about Koh Tao.